Hello everyone, welcome back. So this time we're going to be going through a new function which is going to help us out with our for loops. That function is called the range function. Now, why do you need it? Well, the answer is you don't. I'm kidding. You do need this. It's very, very helpful. Because I've been telling you about how you have to have a list that holds enough values that your loop will loop for once for each value in that list. That's great if you have a list pre-built. Maybe you just need to do something 5 times, or 10 times, or 1,000 times. You don't want to have to make a list that's 1,000 elements long, do you? That sounds pretty terrible. So what do you do? Well, what you do is you're careful and you use your range function. The range function works one of 3 ways. You can actually give it 1, 2, or 3 inputs. When I say inputs, it's just some number or variable separated by a comma. So 1 comma, 2 variables or 2 numbers, 2 inputs. 2 commas, 3 variables, 3 inputs. Each of these works slightly differently. I'll show that to you right here. So, if you look at this, when I gave it just the number 5, it printed out all the numbers from 0 to 4. You're like, wait a minute, why 0 to 4? It's because it's Python. It starts counting from 0. But if you count this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. And so your loop would have gone 5 times. So that works pretty well. But maybe you actually care about those numbers because you plan to use them for something. Well, I actually want a list that goes from 1 to 100. I'm going to add all these numbers for some reason. You can do that. In that case, you give it 2 numbers, and it will go all the way from the number you start at until just before the number you put as the ending number. So in this case, it prints from 1 to 4. So I have a 1 here and a 5 here. Remember, Python is base 0. Okay, option 3 is I give it 3 inputs. I give it a start place. I give it a number to stop just before, and I give it a step size. Your step size before this is always 1. But you can make it 2, 3, 4, 5. It just has to be a whole number. So it started at 1, went up by 2 to 3, went up by 2, hit 5, said nope, I can't go past 5, and I can't go to 5. I have to stop right before it, and so it stopped. So range can be helpful. So let's do this one right here. Look at this. This is one where you're building everything yourself. This is going to be a little bit harder, but we can do it together. So let's put our code here just like it says. So it says you're trying to build a calculator that when given an initial balance and interest rate per month, we'll be able to tell you your final balance after a certain number of months. This sounds pretty good. And honestly, this is a really good way of using it. This can help you figure out which interest rate is for me. Because sometimes banks will have a different bank account. So they'll say like, okay, well, this one gives you 1% interest, but it costs $5 a month. This one gives you 1.5, but it costs 10. And this one gives you 2, but it costs 50. Which of those is for you? Depends on how much money you have. So this is getting us to that. Actually, when we get down to the bottom, we're going to have a much harder example where we're going to do a range of options. So let's try it out. So first, create variables called balance, interest rate per month, and months. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So balance equals, let's figure that out, interest rate per month equals, and months equals. Okay, now what do they equal? Well, they're going to be equal to 10,000. Okay, 10,000. 1.001667. Woo, that's a strange number. And 12. Now, if you wonder why this number is so weird, it's because with interest rates, your amount increases by the interest rate. And usually they tell you 1% per year. So this is just 1 divided by 12. Added to 1. Don't worry too much about where this number comes from. This is right. Okay, so with this we have 3 variables. And now we're going to create a for loop that runs months times using the range function. Okay, for, a little poll here, what should my looping variable be called? Sadly, I can't hear all of you because, I'm alone in my house. We'll say for month in range months. That works. I always kind of like the whole singular in a plural list. It's just a naming convention. You don't have to do that. I could have used I. But I sometimes use this. Okay. It says update the value of balance by multiplying the value of balance by the interest rate per month each loop. Okay, so balance. Now, how am I going to do that? There's several ways I can do it, but remember we had those like little shortcuts before where we had plus equals, and that added something to our variable, or minus equals, and then that subtracted something. Well, guess what? Do multiply equals, and that multiplies our variable by something, and then saves it. So I'm going to do that, and that'll be right there, rate per month. Hopefully I spelled it right. If I didn't, it will tell me. Okay. Fantastic. And we're going to print out the final balance after the loop completes. Print balance. Let's see how it worked. So I had $10,000 to start. After a year, how much money would I have? $10,201.88. That's not bad. That's actually pretty good. 10 out of 10. I like this. This is a good checking account. Okay, so with that, you see what's going on here, how it's working, and how it helps us. So hopefully this was interesting for you. Hope you enjoyed it. And next time, we're going to jump into some harder examples to use this a little bit more. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.